Well, hello, everyone. It is good to see you. Jump into the chat. Let me know all who's here. I am very tired today. I have not been sleeping good like the past probably week, I guess. I was almost caught back up, but then I just like my mind doesn't shut down, and so I've only been getting about 4.5 or 5 hours sleep every night. And I think today it is really catching up with me. And so I'm a little airheady, but we'll get through this together. Um, and it was a very busy day today as well. I don't know how much busy it was as it was stressful. Um, Jill is here. Good to see you. Jules is here. Hello. Lisa is here. So good to see you. Thanks for the info earlier today because, like I said, my brain was like mush and you helped me get that straightened out, and I really appreciate it. Kathy is in the living room, but she is on her computer and she's going to hang out with us a little bit over there. She might go to bed before I finish. Before I went on, I was sitting here looking at my keychain that I got when we were in Alaska. And I laughed so hard, and I don't think you guys are going to be able to see it unless let's see, if I put on this one, I think you might be able to see it. Let's see. All right. I got this keychain. It was hilarious. Well, I needed to get something cheap so I could make change at a store. And she was like, I can only make change if you buy something with cash. And so I was like, okay. So I bought this keychain. Is that not the most like, he's just like, I'm done with y'all. Look at that look on his face. He's just like, why am I here? And then on this side, the moose is kind of the same way. And I just find it hilarious. But that bear, every time I look at it, y'all, it makes me smile so much. Just he's got that look on his face like I'm done. And that's kind of how I feel today a little bit. I'm done. And oh yeah, there. Oh, let me move my head so y'all can see the crispy that was on the agenda today. Kathy's gonna unbox it, and that's gonna be fun when we get to play with the crispy. Now, Hydran, that you guys see in the chat sometime, she has been trying so hard, like since the day she got her crispy, for us to get a crispy. And she's like, just teased it and teased it and teased it. And then finally, Kathy was like, oh, I got to get a crispy. But it sounds like from what she was saying in the car on the way home, this is something that we can take with us when we travel as well. So we'll see how that goes. And I think she is going to be teaching Chef AJ how to use it this week, next week.
Next week, I think like whatever Friday, like the 11th maybe? Is it the 11th or the 13th?
Like the 11th or the 3rd. It's a Friday. So watch for Chef AJ.
So
The 13th.
11 days.
Okay, so about in 11 days, Kathy's going to demo that with Chef AJ and show her how to use it. And so you guys are going to want to tune in to see that. So how are you guys doing? Oh, I'll tell you why I'm stressed. What happened this morning? We'll do a little story time now, and then I'll let you guys kick in. So this morning, Fergus had to go to the vet to get his annual checkup and his shots. And so I was like, okay, you may have to help me put him in the crate. And Kathy was like, okay, I'll help you put him in the crate. And then I was downstairs getting dressed, and he came in, and I had the crate on the bed, and he had this new fancy crate that I bought for him that's like super cushy. And I mean, it's like the kind of crate that people buy for their like French bulldog to travel in the air with. It's like super cushy and has this thick mattress and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, my boy needs this. So I just pick him up. I unzip the top. I pick him up and I just set him in there. And I just zip it up. And he's like, what just happened? And then he realized, oh, you just put me in a crate. So then he starts getting a little wiggling around and wiggling around and wiggling around. And I'm like, oh, I came upstairs and I put my shoes on and I told Kathy, I said, you know, he's in the crate. Don't have to worry about anything. I'm getting ready to run out to the car because his appointment's in like 30 minutes. On my way to going to the car, that little so-and-so unzipped the zipper on the side door with his paw and jumped out into the front yard. Now I got 30 minutes to get him 20 minutes away, maybe 15 if I drive fast. And I am in a panic because now he's running around all in the front yard and I'm like, Lord, I'm never going to catch him. So then I came in and I got Kathy and she came running out. And we tried everything. We tried the licky lickies. We tried treats. I was shaking the treat thing. But every time I got near him, he was like, no, I'm mad at you. You put me in the crate. And so I was like, oh. So I'm panicking. And I'm like, and I'm telling Kathy, I'm like, I think I'm going to have to call and cancel that appointment because I don't know if we can get him. And then Kathy was like, oh, I'm going to help you. And so I kind of ran around one side of the house and made him go underneath the house. And then when he came up on the other side, Kathy was over there and she was between the car and the steps that come up to this kitchen door over here. And he ran up the steps and I was like, oh my God. So I came in the house and I opened the kitchen door and he ran in the house. And of course, soon as he hit the ground in the house, I just scooped him up and I put him in Freya's box. Before I could even get to the top of the stairs, he kicked the bottom of that crate door to where it is now like not locked good because that crate has this weird locking mechanism thing, and if you don't get it just right, it's like the little switches are open instead of closed. And I didn't pay attention, and he kicked that thing, and the whole bottom came out. He was trying to get his paw out, and I was like, oh, he's going to do it again. So I kind of scooted him in there, and then I just wedged those things as tight as I could on the bottom so he couldn't push it out. And then we got to the vet's office, and of course now he's just all fired up because now he's been in a car for 15 minutes and he doesn't want to be in. And they get us back into a room right away. And they're really great at our vet office with cats. They know the cats stress easy, and so they try to make it as comfortable as they can for them. And so I came in and I said, you know, he's kind of stressed, I'm kind of stressed. And they said, okay, we'll get you right into your room. And they had his little name on the chalkboard. And so we went into our room and we sat there for just a few seconds. And then the tech lady came in and she put this nice little towel, like pallet kind of thing for him. It was really thick, so it was cushy. And then she put the weight thing back there. So, and then she got him out of the crate. And as soon as he hit that blanket, he took off onto the floor, jumped up on the counter, and then hid behind the monitor of the computer. And I was like, buddy, I mean, he's never been like this at the vet. But he was just like, today, I'm done, I'm not going. So finally, he started to calm down a little bit after she took his temperature and his weight and all that kind of stuff. And I just kind of petted him and petted him and petted him. He kept wanting to wiggle around, but I just kind of like hugged him and pet him and pet him and pet him. And then when the vet came in, the vet and the tech together, I just sat back and let them do their thing. And he became completely submissive for them. They even were able to cut his front and back nails without him actually having a meltdown. But he was so mad at me that when the vet put him in the crate so that he and I could have a conversation, I looked in and said, it's okay, Fergus. And he turned around and put his butt right to me, and the vet just died laughing. He was like, you're going to have a rough day with him. And I was like, yep. So when we were out running some errands, I picked him up some treats and stuff like that. And I thought I was giving him like the best treat in the world. But apparently we have the weirdest cats on earth who only like to lick the juice out of the paw licking chicken can. So I thought, I'm going to get them paw licking chicken because like that was like primo treat for Irma, Kathy's older cat that passed away. And I was like, okay, I'll get them. This is primo treat. And then they can both have one. Because before we left to go to the store, when I came home and I let Fergus out, he was downstairs. Freya came running down. And Kathy, by the way, was talking the whole time about that Freya was mad when we left. Like, she was running around the house calling for Fergus, and she was mad. She kept going to the door and calling for him. She does not like him outside of this house. So she was mad. So now I got two mad cats at me. And when Fergus got out, they're downstairs, and she's like, oh my God, there you are. And apparently he smelled different from being at the vet's office, and she just jumped back and hissed at him. And then he was like all mopey and depressed because she hissed at him and ran away. And then he was just laying in the hallway down there just like, oh, nobody loves me. They take me to all these terrible places. And so when we're in the car and I'm like worried because I asked Kathy, I said, do you think that taking Fergus to the vet has upset the apple cart at our house, and now these cats aren't going to get along anymore because he smells different? And she was like, no, they'll be fine. And so I was like, okay. And that's why I got them the extra super special treats. And so I opened up both cans and I put them in their little bowls and I set them down over there. Both of them just licked all the juice out of it and have left the pieces of chicken sitting in there. Neither one of them want it. And I'm like, y'all are weird cats. But they seem to be doing better. She keeps sniffing them and looking at them weird, but they're not hissing at each other or anything like that now. So hopefully that's going to be okay. But so it was very traumatic for all of us today, trying to deal with Fergus the escape artist. So yeah, it was hard. I was, by the time I got to the vet's office, I was like, and then I was like paranoid he was going to try to jump out of the car going into the, like, from the crate into the vet's office. So I'm like holding the door shut really tight while I'm walking with him. And then I don't know. The whole thing just freaked me out. But so now I'm all on edge and everything, and lack of sleep is just making me like, let's see. Always Learning says leash. He maybe would prefer a harness and leash. He definitely is rebelling against the claustrophobia-ness of crates.
He's just a rebeller.
I think he just rebels in general. He's always rebels. Freya's very, she fits her name. She's kind of like Freya the warrior princess. And she's not afraid of anything. She will just like, if there's something new in the room, she just walks right up to it. Like, she has no fear of really anything. And that makes us really nervous sometimes because she just, no. But she's also now 13 pounds and she's not fat. She is long, she is tall, she is a big solid girl. And Fergus only weighs 11 pounds and he's a little short with little stubby legs and a little short guy. And I mean, she looks like she could just like pounce him, but they get along so well. But she is, the daredevil. And then Fergus he has feelings. He is very sensitive. He always tries to be a gentleman, but his feelings get hurt. And his feelings get hurt quite often. So he is Mr. Emotional. He will pout. He will ignore us for days while he's mad. And I mean, like, you got to sit there and sweet talk him and baby talk him. You know, you got to do something for him that you don't do for her until he's like, okay, well, maybe I'm not mad at you anymore. So I thought the chicken would be the primo thing to get him to. And he was like, nope, I just want the juice. Don't want the chicken. So I'm like, okay, all right. So I did get him. He likes these little licky things. And so he's been hacking like hairball-y stuff lately. So I thought, well, if he's going to have treats, maybe these will help control his hairball situation. So we'll see if he'll eat those. Because usually he only wants what brand is that? Temptations. The kitty crack ones. That's usually what he wants. Yeah, it's like kitty crack. Even the doctor said it was like kitty crack. He said that's what they use in the office. So when the cats are all like, he's just like, here, have some of this. And then they're all like, ooh. So I was like, okay. But yeah. He came through the kitchen a minute ago and he just kind of glared at me as he walked around. He takes every opportunity right now to glare at me. And there was one point when we were in the vet's office, and it was right when the vet tech moved in to hold him, and the doctor was like, okay, buddy, you're going to feel 3 pinches. And he did the first one, and Fergus was like, mm. And then he did the second one, and Fergus was like, ah. And then he did the third one, and Fergus went, ow. And then I looked at him, and he just went and cut his eyes at me. And the vet tech was like, ooh, he just gave you a look. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be a rough day. So we'll see how long he is grudgy to me. And we'll see if it lasts past today or not. But it might, because he really, really is upset. Jeremy's here. Joanne is here. Busy Bee is here. Always Learning's here. Good to see everyone. And Always Learning says, at least he didn't hiss and spit at you. He did make the growly noise at me when I put him in the second crate, which is the first time he's ever done that to me. So yeah, he was kind of done today with that. And Red Lentil, Yellow Lentil says, yep, cats hold grudges. It's true. And Vi says, my cat gets so stressed at the vet that I have to pre-medicate her the night before and the day of with gabapentin to relax her. Wow. He's not that bad yet. Like, we kind of had to do that with Moxie, our older cat, the black cat that passed away. I think she passed away 2 years ago. But yeah, she could, you had to do something with her because she was a little senile kind of at the end. She couldn't see, she couldn't hear, but she could smell. And most of the time she was just whacking things with the claws. So she had to kind of be medicated to get her over to the doctor and stuff. And Joanne says, my boy cat can hold a grudge like no one's business. I bet. Because this is what we're seeing here. We're seeing Freya is just like everything rolls off her back. She can get upset with you for a second, and if you pet her, she's like, oh, let's do some more of that. That's good. But Fergus is like, don't touch me. Don't look at me. No. And walks away, and he flicks that tail when he turns. I mean, he is very dramatic. He is a very dramatic cat. And Always Learning says, next time, a little vanilla on your hands and then rub both cats. Helps with the weird smell. Oh, that's a great idea. That is a really good idea, and I will try that after this because apparently there's still smells going on. Have they been playing now?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, it's because I'm not in the room. He doesn't have to just sit there and glare at me. So they're playing because I'm not in the room. Mona says, hello, Mona. She says, my older cat hates the kennel. He howls constantly in the car. He loves sitting in the passenger seat when we travel. He sat there the entire 8 hours from Georgia to Alabama. Wow. Now, Moxie was like that. Moxie did not like to be in a crate in the car. And what she would do is she would get, on the center console. And so she would lay on the center console when we were moving. And then whenever we would stop, like at a stop sign or a red light, she'd sit up and she'd look around. And then every time we'd start moving, she'd get down again and she'd wait until we stopped again. She was kind of funny. But being the fact that she was a slasher kitty, it probably wasn't the best idea to have her loose in the car because you just never knew when she was going to just like lose it. So she didn't get to ride like that very often as she got older. When she was younger, she did it all the time. Like, she was fine. But as she got older, she started getting a little more crazy. Let's see. And Always Learning says you could blender the leftover chunks and make it juicy. I mean, that's an idea. It'll probably just go in the trash, though, because it's gross and we don't want it in the house, really. It was just super special treat. I'm so happy that these two don't really like wet food because, man, Moxie, like, that's all. Yeah, Kathy says they're not old yet. That's why. But, like, that is all that Moxie wanted. And I mean, very particular about which one she got and which flavor she wanted and stuff. And then we'd have to get like the big, huge carton of it. And then there was always one flavor that she was just like, yeah, no, not eating that. No, not gonna have it. And then you buy a bunch because Amazon or someplace would have a big sale. And then you'd stock up on these things. And then like the next week, she was on to some new thing. She wasn't eating those anymore. She was waiting for something else. And I'm just like, oh. So I am actually really glad that they're not finding that treat spectacular and that they just like the juice part of it, because I don't want to have to start getting wet food yet for them, because I know the day will come where that is all they're going to want is wet food. And so I would like to keep them on their nice, good dry food as long as I can. Red Lentil, Yellow Lentil says, my dad had 2 cats that were sisters. If one went to the vet, the other one would give the first one the stink eye for a few days. Don't worry. Yeah, I mean, it's the smells. And that's what Kathy was trying to tell me earlier. And Lisa says, have you ever tried using Feel Away? It's something you spray in their carrier that helps them relax. We actually have the Feel Away plugins. We haven't had to use them in several months, but when we first got Freya, we put one upstairs in the living room area, and then we put one downstairs in the guest room area where they kind of both like to go in and out of. And it works like wonderfully, but they're getting along so well, we don't need to use it, but it does help them relax a little bit. So might be a good thing for us to do is just plug one in for maybe the next week or so and let them just kind of chill, and maybe it'll help Fergus not be so mad at me. And Vi says he sounds like a trip. I love cats so much. He is. Both of them, we were just talking this morning, like both of them have just this distinct personality. And if, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm a dog person and I don't really get cats. And I was kind of like that for a while because Moxie was raised with dogs. And so she acted kind of like a dog most of the time until she met Kathy's cat. And then Irma taught her how to be a cat. But, yeah, I never really was around cats a lot because I always felt like cats couldn't be cuddly. Cats couldn't be, like a dog is just like, hello, I love you. And I just felt like cats couldn't be that way. But their personalities are just so strong, and I enjoy watching them, and I enjoy having them around. And both of them, in their own way, are very snuggly. Freya is, she's just, I mean, the way we describe her all the time is just sweet cat. She has a very strong personality, but she wants to come lay next to you, and she wants you to pet her, and she likes to snuggle into you and things like that. And we love that about her. And then Fergus, when he's ready to go to bed, he'll come get on me on the couch, but he's got to lay right here in my face. And I'm like, okay, can you get over a little bit? So then he'll get over on the side of the couch, and then he'll lay across me this way. And then when we get in bed, then I'll lay on my side, and he'll crawl up and he'll lay right here on my shoulder until he falls asleep. And then he almost falls and wakes himself up and gets mad and goes and gets in his bed. So it's like every night we go through that little thing, and it's kind of funny. It's kind of like our little routine now. Let's see. Always Learning says, okay, I'm a dog trainer and cat trainer every now and then, and I'm all for giving the choice, getting to love what I will need of them, like take pills or get in the crate or have nails trimmed. Yeah, I mean, he's never liked the crate, but this was the first time that like he just like rebelled that much about the crate. And I thought he would just, I mean, the new crate was awesome because it's super cush. It's like the Rolls Royce of crates. But he took that paw, it was the zipper was just not down this much. And he took that paw and kept hitting it until I heard zoop, and boom, he was out. I was like, I can't believe it. He did it so fast I couldn't even catch him. And he just was gone. So, and that made me really nervous too, because I didn't want him to take off into the woods or anything like that, because then A, he would have missed his appointment. B, I would have had to pay for the appointment anyhow. And C, I would have paced this house all day long until he was back in this house. So I worry about the animals. I do. And Busy Bee says, I love how our pets have such character. I do too. I think it's amazing. They're like little kids. And Mona says, I'm lucky, I guess. Neither of my cats hold grudges. Yes, you are lucky. You are very lucky. And Debbie Cowan says, I had a very long-haired cat that couldn't even go 4 blocks from the house to the vet without pooping, puking, and peeing. They used to wash out the carrier and ABS wash. I had they used to wash the carrier out for me and wash the towel before we went home. Yeah. I was worried he was going to go to the bathroom in the crate today. I guess that should have been the least of my worries, because we are still in the process of getting used to the new litter box, the robot litter box. And of course, Miss No Fear, she took to it right away this time. And he still is like, he walks past it and gives it the side eye. This morning, she went to the bathroom, and she's so funny because she goes in the robot and then she leaves, and she knows about what the timing is for it to go through the cycle. And so she comes back when it's time to go through the cycle, and she just sits there. And she waits for it to start, and then she watches it. She watches everything spin around and go in the thing, and she waits till she hears it go clunk. And then when it's done, she walks away very self-satisfied. So this morning, he even sat right next to her, and they both watched it together. So, I mean, I feel like he's kind of getting it, but he's still just being stubborn and just is like, no, that is not my jam. But he loves a super clean litter box, and I think if he would just use it a couple times and realize that every time he gets in there, it's clean, I think it would blow his mind, and I think he would love it. But he's going to go in there at his own pace. So we will see. And Vegana is here. Hello. She says, howdy from Texas. Can't relate as I'm a true blue dog person to the death, but getting a kick out of the stories. Yeah, I was always a dog person too, but, and then I got Moxie. And Moxie was raised with two dogs. So she was raised with a Cocker Spaniel and a Siberian Husky. And her and the Siberian Husky were buds. Like, they were best buds. She had a little bed. He slept in a crate. He did not like to sleep out of the crate. He would go in the crate and take his paw and slam the door when he was ready to go to bed. Like, you didn't even have to shut the door of it. He just would sleep in there all night because when he was little, we crate trained him. And then every time I tried to take the crate away and say, okay, you can have run of the house now, he would freak out and he wouldn't want it. He would chew something up. He was just like, let me have my crate back. So he always slept in the crate. She had a little black bed that laid on top of his crate. And so it was like their bunk beds. And so he would sleep in the bottom of the crate and she would sleep on top of the crate with him every night. And she went through a really big depression when he passed. And then that's right around the time that Kathy and I got together. And so my ex was like, I don't want to have any responsibility for anything. So, I'm going to take the cat to the pound. And I was like, no, you're not. And so Kathy was like, just bring the cat over here. And so Moxie went and lived over at Kathy's house and met Irma. And the next thing you know, she was acting like a cat. So it was kind of funny. But I was always a dog person. Sorry, I'm reading all your good stuff. Always Learning is saying wet food is closer to natural diet and better health-wise for them, in case you want to know. Yeah, the thing that I like about them having the dry food is because I feel like it's kind of well-rounded, and also I like that it cleans, the crunchy stuff kind of cleans their teeth and stuff. So, but we'll see. They get wet stuff every day in the form of like some kind of licky thing. And, sometimes it's the churros, sometimes it's the kitty crack, but they get something wet every day. And they, at least once a day, and they are very happy with that. Let's see. And Jules says, I'm not sure about the wet idea. My cats have always lived long, and at the end, I even tried wet, but they didn't want it. Lived 22, 20, and 19. Yeah, I am, I just feel like I'll let them decide. If you know how Kathy and I are. If they start rebelling and they want wet food every day, that's what they're going to get. But right now, they just want the dry stuff. And so we're pretty happy about that right now, considering Moxie was like a money pit for a while with her habit of swapping food every other week. Let's see. Advice says, Cheryl, you're cracking me up talking about your cats. Oh, that's good. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it. And Hydran's here. Look. Oh, this way. Look on the back counter. It's here. Your magic has worked. And we now have a Crispy that's going to get unboxed. And Always Learning says, I'm sorry you and Fergus both had a hard day. And let's see, Lisa says, I had a cat once who had no molar teeth and still would only eat the dry food. Right? I mean, one of the things that the vet did say today was, he said, he's getting on the age that we probably need to think about getting his teeth cleaned and stuff like that. So that's going to be worked in probably in the next, he said within the next year. So I'm not going to rush him out to, I don't want to go through anything like I went through today for a while. But yeah, but they get whatever they want. Really, we spoil them to death. I went into the pet store to get them a treat, and one thing, I stood at the toys for 15 minutes trying to decide if I needed to get them more toys. But they've got toys. They've got toys they have drug out that I don't even know where those toys were. And they're all over the house. Every time I turn around, I'm stepping on one of those little like fake mouse looking things and every now and then they have these big toys that they like kick, like they'll get and kick with all their feet kind of thing. And those had disappeared for a long time, but now 2 of them have showed back up here. I don't know. Then there's this one that every cat that has lived in this house, it was Irma's toy. And Irma passed away in like 2018. And every cat has wanted to play with that toy. And so we don't get rid of that toy. And it's stupid. It's the stupidest thing. It's just like, it looks like a chipmunk, but it's tiny. And it has no filling in it. There's nothing in it. It's just like skin kind of thing. And they both toss it up and bat it around. And it'll show up in weird places in the house. Just absolutely weird places. And when I was setting up for Kathy's class on Saturday, I was turning on the computer and stuff, and I looked, and somehow they had gotten that toy on the shelf where the computer stuff is. And I don't even know how it got there, and I don't want to know, but they'll drag those things everywhere. And Hydrant says, "Oh my God, a Crispy." I think Kathy's still up here. Yeah. She's kind of excited about the Crispy now. She's finally come around to the being excited about the Crispy thing. And she said on the way home, she thinks that we can travel with that and use it to heat stuff up. And when we're in the car, car travel, that we can use that to like heat stuff up and that. And Jules says, "I don't know what a Crispy is, and I can't wait." So it's another air fryer that Ninja makes. But the beautiful thing about this is the containers are glass. So it doesn't have any of that weird coating on it or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about whatever chemicals are coming off into your food and things like that that people tend to worry about. Elizabeth is here. Hello, Elizabeth. It is good to see you. And we were just talking about my weird day, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you in a few weeks. But Fergus was very dramatic today, let's just say that. But I'm actually feeling better talking about it to you guys because I was feeling like I was the worst parent on earth because I had to take him to the vet to get his shots and his annual exam. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so terrible. Look how upset he is. Look, he's so sad. I'm just like, he has to have it. And I told him on the way home, I said, "I only do this because I love you." And he just side-eyed me and turned his butt to me again. So we'll see how many days the drama continues. Or if I get a snuggle tonight, I'll have to let you guys know. C, Hydrant says, "For sure it's portable, especially if you just take the small container." And she says, "I still pretty much use mine pretty much every day, sometimes several times a day." That's pretty, I mean, you've had that now for probably what, a year it's taken us to come around to this, or at least 9 months or so since you've had yours. So that says a lot that you're still using it several times a day. So yeah. Whoop, wrong way. This way. Crisp. Everything's backwards. Crispy. See, in all actuality, the Breville is right here. Well, see, now it works. But it's not on that side of me. It's not on that side of me. It's actually on the opposite, I think. Is it? Yeah. Because the refrigerator I'm not even gonna, because when I point now, I point to the things that I'm saying. And so, yeah, my brain can't handle that. It'll just explode. So I'm not even going to try to think about that. Vi says, good night, everyone. Getting up super early in the morning tomorrow, and we'll watch the replay. Good night, Vi. Thanks for stopping by. We really appreciate it. Thanks for listening to my kitty stories. All right. So that was my day. Very stressful. Trying to calm down, trying to figure out what to do. I know I need, and with the lack of sleep that I've been getting, yeah, Carlene says our hygiene bought that in November last year. So yeah, it's been a while, and now we're finally getting around to it. But yeah, I'm just trying to find a way to. I think yesterday what messed me up is I haven't been drinking caffeine very often. And yesterday we met some friends for brunch that we hadn't seen in a very, very long time. And it was like 11:30, 12 o'clock. And I actually had a coffee. And I think that coffee probably was not in my best interest, because I think that might have led to some of the brain not wanting to shut down last night. However, the days before that, I can't use coffee as the excuse. I didn't have any caffeine. I was drinking some lavender drink that Kathy made, but I'm pretty sure that was tea. Tea doesn't usually affect me the same way that coffee does, so I don't know. But I think tonight I may have to break out the sleepy time tea or Kathy's Calm Chewies or something to just kind of like get the mind to shut down and to stop. It's just like so much going through. And then I'll like think of something, and then instead of going, oh, tomorrow I should research X, I go, let me do it now. And then I'll just get on my phone, and then that's it. It's, 2-3 hours later before I'm finally like falling asleep. And I know I shouldn't be picking my phone up and looking at it after I get in the bed, because that is just asking for me to not be able to sleep. But I have some pills that I could take that my sleep doctor gave me last year, but I'm really trying not to. Because I worry about those sometimes, and they're not the ones that make people like walk in their sleep or anything like that. These actually, when I can't get to sleep, I'm supposed to take one of these, and then within like 30 minutes or so, it makes me get drowsy, and I'm not exactly sure what they are, but I don't want to use medicine to make myself go to sleep. I just want to get my rhythm back. That's all out of whack. So that's where I am. Trying to get some sleep, trying to take some better care of me, I know if I can get to sleep that I'll be completely healthy again, because I know that a lot of this lingering kind of congestion that I have is because I'm not getting enough sleep. And Angela, when we got done Friday night, Angela was like, I don't think you've ever gotten rid of it from when you had it a month ago. She's like, I think you guys it's still there and you're not getting rid of it because you're not getting enough rest. And so I think she's probably right about that. And so I'm going to try to get more rest. Kathy's been trying to get more rest, and it seems to be helping her some. But yeah, I need to do the things for me that I'm always telling you guys to do for you, right? Let's see. Elizabeth says, I know I texted you earlier, but I just wanted to share with others that the Date Lady's new chocolate syrup is amazing on Kathy's vanilla ice cream from book number 2. And I want a hot fudge sundae now. Thank you. Because I bet you could heat that up in the microwave, and I bet it would be amazing. And now I want ice cream. Thank you. But at least it doesn't have caffeine in it. And Always Learning says, my phone is now not allowed in the bedroom. I'm kind of about to get that way with me, but I have to keep it in there because of alarms and stuff. Like not like house alarms and things like that, but I have an alarm goes off if my blood sugar gets low in the middle of the night. So, and I've been having some low sugar issues, so I have to keep track of that right now. So I'm trying to keep track of that.
But that doesn't mean you can't not read.
And Kathy says, that doesn't mean that, what? That doesn't mean that you can't not read. That's a lot.
I win.
You win. The peanut gallery wins. Always Learning says, I've had sleeping issues for so long, but recently very bad. The doc just prescribed Ambien, normal dose 10. He prescribed 5 and I took half. First time I've slept 5 hours in a long time. That's awesome. She said, but I hate taking meds too. Just sleep matters for everything. Immune, mood, ability to make good decisions about food, exercise, everything, productivity, etc. It does. And I mean, that's, we know now that we made a huge mistake when we came back from the West Coast on the red eye. What we should have done is we should have got to the house, taken a shower, changed clothes, and then went out and did something.
But we would have murdered each other.
But Kathy has a point that we would have murdered each other if we did that, because at that point we were both so exhausted that we were starting to get a little nitpicky with each other and stuff. And so it was like, we need to go to bed. So how would it have been different if we would have slept on the flight? I don't know. I think we still would have had a little bit of this, what do they call it? Jet lag. And it was the first time either one of us had ever experienced that. So, I don't know. That was kind of the start of it. And then I got my cough back. And I haven't really felt bad. I just have a cough that rears its head every so often, and it's just kind of annoying. I don't know. Kathy felt bad a couple days, but she seems to be turning the corner. But she still has that cough too, and it's the same cough that we've both had for, I don't know what, 2 months? Month?
I've had it longer than that.
You've had it longer?
Got better twice and got bad.
She's like, I got better twice and then I got bad again. But, it's just, and it's weird because we don't really feel awful either at the same time. It's just, if I lean back just right, or if I sleep on a certain side or something, and then I wake up and I'm just all kinds of congested and stuff. So I don't know. And Always Learning says, I have the date chocolate and the chili date paste, and yum, I can't wait. Kathy put some at Jeremy, you just need espresso blend ice cream. Funny, yes. Yeah, that's going to help. That would really be helpful at this point. Then I would be bouncing off the walls with the espresso for sure. And Elizabeth says, I've heard the secret is to wake up early even if you are still tired. It sucks for one day, but will get you back on track. I don't know. Maybe. We woke up early today for us. We were up by about 8:15 today. And usually we don't get up till 9. Because we've been going to bed at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning or something, right? Sometimes we're like 4 hours out of whack. So we're just trying to get back up right side. And Kathy was saying today, and you guys can chime in if this is something that helps you, but Kathy was saying today that she feels like if she could just get out and walk more in the mornings, that she feels like that might reset her a little bit. And then we were watching a YouTube video earlier before we got on here, and that was one of the things that one of the guys said too, was just kind of get out and walk and kind of reset your circadian rhythm. So that's something that we are exploring. Yeah, and Always Learning says, I get up at 7 every morning and I still can't sleep when I get into bed at midnight or 1. And Always Learning, is it your mind just keeps going, like you can't shut it off, like you're just constantly thinking? And I'm not even like thinking about, I'm not the person who's laying there worrying about everything that I have to do or everything that I didn't get done or anything like that. I'm going, oh, wow. I wonder if that hotel has a microwave. And then I'm on the phone and I'm looking to see if that hotel has a microwave, and I'm just like, or I'll just all of a sudden think about, oh, I should check and see if I filled out that form for eCam camp, and then I'm in the middle of the night. Oh yeah, I filled that out. But then I find something else, or then something will pop up and I'll get an email, and then I'm off looking at that, looking at suitcases or something stupid, and just the mind is just going, and I'll keep going. You need to stop. You need to stop. You need to go. You need to sleep. And then my brain's just like, yeah, let's just look up this one more thing and then we'll go to bed. And that one more thing always takes it another hour or two, right? So that's what I'm working on. And so my goal for the week is going to be making sure that I'm not looking at my phone at night. I'm going to move it far away from me. And the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to move my glasses away from me, because I can't see my darn phone if I don't have my glasses on. So if I move my glasses away, that also takes away that ability to just comfortably scroll on the phone all night. And I also have sleep apnea, and I do sleep with a CPAP Max, and usually that just lulls me to sleep. I don't know what it is. I've had it so long, I guess, that I just like, it just kind of lulls me to sleep, just having that. And then I have earplugs, and with the earplugs that I wear, I listen to sounds of the evening, like crickets and frogs and things that I would hear if we slept with the windows open, if it wasn't like, 120% humidity and making everything wet in the house. And usually that stuff just lulls me right to sleep. But lately, nope, not working. And let's see. Mona says, come help me plant trees and shrubs and you'll sleep like a baby. I bet I would. Get all that. Oh, Kathy wants to know, Mona, did you move to a new house? Did we miss something? Because we probably did. And that was one of the things when we were on the trip to Alaska and we were outside a lot doing like excursions and stuff. That was one of the things that I noticed is I slept hard. Like we were going to bed by 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock on the ship.
Yeah.
We would eat early dinner, go to the show, go with Jill and Wayne and have like a nightcap, and then we were all in bed by 9 or 10 o'clock. And they get up at 6 a.m. Well, I should say Wayne gets up at 6 a.m. every day, and he goes and he has his coffee and he goes to the gym and does his thing. And but yeah, I mean, I was sleeping.
4 hours different too. So going to bed at 10 then is like going to bed at 2 now.
I guess you're right. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
So Kathy was pointing out to me that when we were going to bed at 9 or 10, it was like us going to bed at 1 or 2 because of the 4-hour difference at that point in time. And I guess that's why I was sleeping hard. But I felt like I was getting a lot of fresh air. And I feel like sometimes, like when I get a lot of fresh air, I've been out walking in the fresh air and just, I get tired faster. Like I sleep really, really good. So, this week, not only am I going to keep my phone away and my glasses away, I am going to encourage Kathy and I in the morning before we get started to just kind of go do a lap around the block or something just to get us going and to kind of get that fresh air moving, and then maybe it'll help get everything turned back right. And plus it won't hurt us to do some walking this week. Hopefully the weather will hold out. It's been really rainy here. Has it been rainy around anybody else? Last night, I was all excited because on the news they said, oh, if you go out like 10 or 11 o'clock, then you might be able to see the northern lights. And I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go out and see the northern lights. Like, what was it? 5 after 10, this huge thunder crack and lightning and everything else. And then it started raining and I was like, oh, bummer. But, yeah, we've had a lot of rain since we've gotten home. And Dr. Deb says, natural light helps set your internal clock. Very true. And Always Learning says, it's also good for depression to get out in the sun right after waking. Well, that's a good idea too. And Shelley says, today my husband and I are celebrating our 24-year anniversary. We went out for vegan sushi. How long have you and Kathy been married? Oh, God, you asking me that? I don't remember.
I think it's 10 years now.
Is it 10? Is it a solid 10 or is it?
Like 10 and a half.
It's 10 and a half, yeah.
But we've been together.
No, I think it's 11.
Okay.
It's 11. Pretty sure it's 11. Yeah. It's 11, I think. We're past 10 for sure. Because it was 10 when we went to Disney last year. When they gave us our buttons. Yeah. That was last year. So it's 11. 11 in November. So that will be fun. We will be on a cruise for our anniversary.
Which one?
We'll be with Jill and Wayne.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're going with Jill and Wayne on a cruise out of San Juan. Right around the time, right on our anniversary, actually. So that's going to be awesome. So that'll be fun. We can do something special. And let's see. And also, Shelley, happy anniversary and congratulations. 24 years is awesome. And Elizabeth says, Jack Dixon was on the McDougall YouTube channel today for anyone who didn't watch it. Great info about getting more movement into your routine. That's awesome. And did he talk about taking advantage of those downtime moment kind of things? Or was he just talking about having a routine and doing it every day? Because I know one time he was talking about if you're waiting for something to cook in the kitchen, you can just kind of do some push-ups against the counter kind of thing. And just there were different things. And I think he also talked about one time about having some of those resistance bands around. And then when you had time to just kind of do a little resistance band stuff and just kind of work it in, I'm getting ready to go to the bathroom, so I'm going to use the resistance band for 3 times and, kind of have something that you do every time that you go to do this other thing. And that's a real easy, good way to get in a lot of extra movement. Yeah, all these things are coming back to me now, and I'm like, wow, there's all these things that I should be doing, and I'm not. So I should be doing that. And Always Learning says, I don't have lists going through my head. I meditate and listen to sleeping music, etc. I'm just not sleepy. I'm always sleepy from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. I'm about to give in to naps during that time. What if you just went to bed? Kathy's done that before, and actually, it's kind of helped her. Like, if she feels tired and she's like, "I'm going to bed. I'm feeling tired right now. I'm going to bed," and then she falls right to sleep, and then she may get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, but she slept all night and didn't wake up and, went right to sleep. So, I mean, that might be something to try and just see, because you get up early anyway. So maybe if you just shift the earlier time a little bit and just go to bed at 8 o'clock, go to bed when you're sleepy and just do it. And if it's still light where you are, get a mask. We're going to get eye masks to take with us on our trip. Because apparently when we are in Iceland and in the Scandinavian areas and things, that it's going to be daylight most of the time we are there. It's not going to get dark until in the middle of the night, and only for just a little bit. And then like 4 a.m., the sun comes back out again. So we're going to probably have to have masks. But the place we are staying at, it's an Airbnb, and it does have room darkening blinds, so that'll be helpful too. And Apple says, "Hello, Apple. It's good to see you." Apple says sleep hygiene is very complex and looks different for individuals. There are a few key components, but then there's lots of tweaking. For example, I need magnesium complex supplements. You may not. Is that the Calm things you take?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll do a Calm in a heartbeat. If I, to avoid taking any of the medication stuff. Like Kathy takes those sometimes. She's got the chewy. They're called Calm, and you get them like at Whole Foods or Sprouts, and they're like little gummies. And we'll both take, like, if we're having trouble sleeping, we'll both take those. We take them with us on our trip. We have some things like that we take with us in case we have trouble sleeping on the trips. There's something else that we have too sometimes. Oh, the sleepy time tea, which I'm probably going to do tonight because I do like tea in the evenings, and the sleepy time tea is almost like a little desserty thing, right? And then I feel like I'm having my little nightcap, and then it'll help. So there's that. And I do agree with you, Apple, though. It is a very, very complex thing. And, everybody, it's different for everybody. I mean, just like, and the thing is, it also, what makes it even more complex is it doesn't always stay the same. So what could be working for you all of a sudden doesn't work, or all of a sudden something else works. And like, it's just this constant evolving, constantly changing thing that all these other parts of our life impact. So it is a super, super complex thing. Always Learning says she does. I do tart cherry, magnesium, etc. Dr. Deb says restorative sleep is one of the pillars of lifestyle medicine. We underestimate the importance of sleep to our overall health. Yes. And then I want to add to that is most of us know how important that sleep is to our overall health. And then we still sit here and do things that we know are probably going to impact our sleep. So there's the whole human element of that too that kicks in. And Always Learning says, ban the glasses from the bedroom, problem solved. All your alarms are still intact. And that's true, because I don't really need to see my alarm when it goes off. I just need to know it has and get my tail up and go do something about it. So, yeah, that I think I am going to I'm going to leave my glasses in the bathroom on the counter and see how that does tonight, and see if that keeps me off the phone, because I think that's a pretty good idea. And Always Learning says, it's so annoying and stressful to know and continually hear, even from the inner voice, how important sleep is. It is. Mona says, yes, in a new house in Alabama. Been here a year. Where at in Alabama? I have peoples in Alabama. Jules says, I went to Gren Fair vegan restaurant where the speaker wrote the book Sleep Groove, which I bought, and it has been helpful. Sleep Groove. I am going to look that up. And Lisa says, nothing like fresh air to help you sleep better. And it's true. Yeah. Spoken from our hiker expert. I bet when you guys go camping, when you're hiking and then you hike all that time and then you like pitch your tents and go to sleep, I bet you guys just like, boom, as soon as your heads hit the pillow, I bet you are out like a light. And Apple says, I like the book Why We Sleep. That's another one I will check out. And Red Lentil, Yellow Lentil says, Third sirs? I'm not sure what that is. You might have to retype that for me. And Lisa says, we've been getting almost daily thunderstorms, but also some smoke for the fires north of us. We actually had smoke from the fires in Canada. Was it over the weekend, Kath? Yeah. Over the weekend. And you could smell it. Like, we had the windows open and I could smell, like I kept thinking, I smell it. It feels like something's burning. And then I saw on the Weather Channel thing that it was the hazy and smoke was coming from the Canadian fires. And let's see. Jules says, yes, rain has rained a few days in Tennessee. Then I drive home in rain, and it rained for a few days in West Virginia. And Mona says, we had 19 days of rain in May, and we're getting more this month. Everybody's flowers and stuff is going to be growing like crazy. And Red Lentil, Yellow Lentil says, there are allergens in the air here. Okay, so you guys are having like pollen-y stuff? Because that stuff makes me just like crazy. My head just gets all stuffed up and nose runs, and eyes itch, everything. Always Learning says it's perfect high 60s, low 70s in South Lake Tahoe this past week. Oh, that sounds lovely. We had some very hot days at the end of last week. And now it's kind of cooled back to a normal springish temperature the past couple days. And Mona says, Tennessee rains are like no other. I spent a 13-week assignment in Nashville in torrential rains. Yeah. I have to say, southern rains in general tend to be pretty hard. Like, sometimes we don't have an attic. So, and the way our house is built, it's a deck house. And so there's windows, all clear story windows on both sides up above me. When it rains hard, we can't even hear the TV. We can barely hear each other talk when it rains really hard because it's so loud on the roof. And we don't have a tin roof or anything. It's just the rain is that hard. And sometimes it rains so hard that I worry that the skylights are going to break in because they sound like they're just like taking a beating. It's crazy. And Always Learning says, that's how I get all my PT exercises done. Waiting for microwave, milk to froth, water to boil. If I go to bed at 4 or 6, I'll be up by 10 or 11, but I will get better sleep than now. Maybe not. I mean, you could try it one time and just see what happens. I mean, maybe you might, hey, look right there. Right there. Oh, there. There's a cat. Right there. Nope. The kitty that's mad at me is right there. Yes, see, he's mad at me. Would you like to have the stool? Here. Would you like to say hello? Would you like to tell everybody how I made you so upset today? Hmm? You not mad at me anymore? You still a little bit? Okay. He's still a little bit mad. But he's come up here so he can see what's going on. I guess he's not that mad at me, so that makes me very happy. Let's see. Elizabeth says that he talked about what he called exercise snacks, which was doing 10 squats once every hour, which should only take you 45 seconds. 45 seconds to do 10 squats? What do you think, buddy? Can I do? You done? Okay, thank you. That seems like fast. He also said, do not rely on motivation for daily workout. Routine is best, and make it non-negotiable. Otherwise, you will make excuses on days you're not motivated. Yep, and there are a lot of people that I talk to online. A lot of people here that are with us right now. They have non-negotiables, and those non-negotiables really, really help them, get through their week, get through their day. Like, non-negotiable is really like magic, because if you can get that into your head that something is non-negotiable no matter what, it helps so much to stay on track for things. And Jules was saying that there were 3 tornado watches while she was in Tennessee over 20 days. And Always Learning says there is an awesome sleep book. What's it called? Why We Sleep. I'd have to go look. That's cool. Why We Sleep. I think somebody else mentioned that one. Or did you mention that one? That might have been the one that Apple mentioned, that one. Yeah, Why We Sleep. So I'll definitely look into that, because it can't hurt to educate ourselves on anything that we're interested in like that, especially if it's a topic that, is very important to us. So right now I'm kind of worried about sleep and how it affects my body and all the other things that it's impacting, and my productivity and everything that it's impacting, because I do a little something and then I'm wore out. I empty the dishes and then I'm wore out and I have to go sit down, and because I'm tired. But I don't go to bed. I just sit down, and then, so I need to read some of those books and educate myself and, kind of get better ideas of what might work for me, because as Apple said, this is very complicated and a very individual thing. And so maybe reading some of those books will really help kind of educate me in a way that I can find out what works best for me. And Always Learning says, I swear I've tried everything for sleep. The Ambien I just tried the other night was the last resort after 10 plus years. Yeah. There are a lot of people who struggle with sleep. And I mean, it's not a rare thing. That's for sure. And Mona's in Athens. Athens. I'm trying to think what county that's in. Are you closer to Birmingham or are you closer to Huntsville? It sounds familiar to me, and I'm not exactly sure. My family is kind of closer to Huntsville. They are in Marion County, most of them. Also, Hackleburg, Haleyville, Hamilton. All 3 of those I have family in. So my uncle used to be the sheriff of Marion County, but he passed away a few years back. But he was the sheriff of Marion County for years and years and years. And Lisa says, I do sleep like a baby when I camp in the mountains after a good hike. I can imagine that. You know what else? When I sleep like a baby is when I have walked like 12 or 13,000 steps. or if we're at like an amusement park or something like that, where we've just been like, go, 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 go all day long, I sleep like a baby on those days for sure. And I think it's the same kind of thing. I think it's if we're moving, we're taking in that fresh air, we're just, go, go, go. And then the next thing you know, you're just like, wow, out. And Red Lentil says, sorry, my phone case is closed. It's okay. It's not a problem. And Jeremy was saying that's why there was a halo around the sunset yesterday. Are you talking about the Northern Lights? Because I don't know how far back I am right now. Vigana says, breathing exercises to activate parasympathetic system, dimming lighting in the evening so pineal gland makes melatonin, mindful meditate to calm mind, non-emotionally engaging TV in the evenings. And I am glad that you say that, because there are so many people that are like, don't watch TV before you go to bed, don't blah, 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 blah. But I want to say that you can put me in front of a cozy mystery. You put me on Acorn, give me Murdoch, give me Agatha Raisin, give me any of those cozy mysteries. And like, my whole body calms down. It just calms right down. There's just something about a cozy mystery that just like works it for me. But sometimes reality TV works, but it depends on if it's high energy reality TV, it does not work. But if it's something like there's a Korean show that's like almost like a dating show where they're on this island, and that one, it's not high energy. It's not like crazy stuff going on all the time and people screaming. They're all very polite and they talk to each other, but it's very cool. And that one kind of calms me down too, because I get involved in them, and they're just so soft spoken and they're talking, and so that one works pretty good for me. Mona says, I refuse to close my bedroom windows until it's just unbearable. I love the night sounds and fresh air, and I hate using the air conditioner. I do. I love the frogs and the crickets and all that, but unfortunately, neither Kathy or I can tolerate heat. Like, we have to have it cold to sleep really good.
It's supposed to be easier to sleep if it's cold.
And Kathy says it's supposed to be easier to sleep if it's cold. Like, we keep it pretty cool. Like, we'll turn it even down further in the evenings, so that we have to get all, under covers and stuff, because it just really helps us. If we're a little bit on the chilly side, we seem to sleep a lot better than we do if we're on the warm side. So, sticking with that one. And Red Lentil, Yellow Lentil says, it rains in my kitchen through the skylight. Oh, see, I worry about that. When we had the roof replaced, we had to get the skylights replaced. And the other ones weren't leaking or anything. And I felt like the other ones were real glass. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were some kind of poly something, but they seemed thicker than what we have now. The ones that they replaced them with don't seem as heavy duty, and so that's why I worry about them a little bit, especially like if we get hail or something like that. Sometimes we get the big hail and it just pounds those things. It only lasts for a few seconds, but it's just enough to like make you jump. Everybody saying hi, Fergie. And Elizabeth, Jules says that was very helpful. And Jules says, I have the same issue, Cheryl, not sleeping well. I am now just letting myself fall asleep anytime I'm tired, since I can do it. That's a great idea too. And I struggle with that. I've always struggled with that. Kathy, she will just like, she will go and she'll be like, I'm tired. I'm going to go take a nap. And she'll just go take a nap and fall right to sleep and take a nap. And I can't, like, even if I'm sick, Like, she'll be like, you need to go back to bed. You need to just go sleep and rest. And I'll be like, I can't. Like, I get the same benefit just sitting in my chair and not moving around and doing too much as I would if I went to sleep. Because if I go lay in the bed, then I'm just going to be like staring at the ceiling and everything else. So I don't know. I just can't. I try, but I can't. I'm not good at naps at all. Even like sometimes when we're on a cruise or something, I always feel like, ooh, I could take a nap. But then I'm always like, oh, I'm going to miss something if I take a nap. So I guess the busybody in me, the Gladys of me, just doesn't want to miss out on something, I guess. And Mona says, I'm really close to Huntsville, 45 minutes away. Awesome. And Mona says, the moon is orange at night here. It's beautiful. Oh, thanks, Jeremy. Jeremy was saying the ring around the stuff was the smoke from the Canadian fires. Awesome. Vegana says, get an Aura ring. I love how much I've learned about my quality of sleep by the statistics it gives you. Interesting. I haven't really looked into the Aura ring. I've noticed a lot of people wearing them on our travels and stuff like that. Because I have the Apple Watch, I just felt like it would be a redundant kind of thing to have an Aura ring as well. But I have noticed recently that a lot of people have Apple Watches or Garmin watches and they still have the Aura ring too. So that's something I should probably look into and see if there's some other information that it would give me that I don't get as well with my Apple Watch. I'm going to cough. Hold on. And there it is. That crap in my lungs. Let's see. And everybody's saying, yeah, that the cooler the body, you sleep better. And Always Learning says, if I could afford it, my AC would be at 63. There have been times when our AC has been at 63. But most of the time, we just, we keep it less than 70 at night when we're sleeping, for sure. And let's see. And see, Always Learning saying the same thing. At Vegana, I've wanted an Aura ring for a while. Do you have a smartwatch too? I thought it might be overkill having my Apple Watch. Yeah, that's exactly where my mind went. As soon as I heard about them, I was like, oh, but I already have this, so I don't really need that. I can't imagine my life without this at this point. I rely on it so much, actually. This is probably the best gift that Kathy ever got for me, was this updated watch, the bigger one, so I can actually see it. I can actually see that pretty good without my glasses on too.
Hey, Fergus, what a good boy. Guess what Fergus did? I sent you a video.
Oh, he did?
He peed, he stayed in there, and he pooped. I'm pretty sure he covered both of it up.
Yeah. Fergus went in the litter robot. He just did it a few minutes ago. Kathy got it on video. He's probably embarrassed.
Just the side of his face.
Just the side of his face, not the whole
and him
thing. But I'm so excited. Oh my God.
I knew if I stared at him, he'd stop.
Oh, that's so amazing. Oh, yay. It's so good. He should get cookies for that, or Licky Licky or something.
You like some cookies?
Oh, that's awesome. And Mona says, I can't do the cold. I have Raynaud's. I'm not sure I know what Raynaud's is.
Oh, Raynaud's disease.
Oh, Raynaud's disease. Okay, thank you. And she says, I'm the gal in the grocery in a jacket. Kathy and I are still waiting for our cold era. We have been patiently waiting for the time when we get to say, I need my jacket. But that just doesn't seem to be happening for either of us. And we look at people that are in the store and they have their little coats zipped up, their little windbreakers zipped up because they're chilly, or they got their little jacket in the restaurant because they're chilly. And then we're like, it's 60 degrees and we're both in shorts and a t-shirt. So we want the cold era. We are waiting for our cold era. And Jules says, even if I can't sleep, I try to lay vertical and rest. Yeah, that's good. Mona says, I can nap sometimes. I just have to. And Elizabeth says, I forgot to say Happy Pride Month at the beginning. Are you guys doing anything fun to celebrate? We're coming to visit you. That's what we're doing fun to celebrate. We are actually going to be, for the first time, we are going to be in Orlando in June. We haven't been to Orlando in June like ever, I don't think. And so we're kind of excited because they're going to have all the new merch out and all that kind of stuff. And we're excited to see, what Disney has for Pride this year. And so that'll be fun. And then I'm sure Universal's already putting reels out on TikTok and places of all the merch that they've got for this year. So, and it looks fun. It looks like fun stuff. So I'm kind of excited about that. So yes, excited. Yay! And we also are going to have lunch the first day that we go to the parks, the 18th. We are going to have lunch in Epic at one of the restaurants we didn't get to go to because you have to have a reservation. And we got a reservation for lunch at the Blue Dragon, I think it's called. And they're supposed to have 4 different vegan options there. So we're very excited to see what those are. Somebody said they have a mapo tofu that is super spicy. So I will be avoiding that, but I'm hoping that they have something that's just tofu and vegetables because that's my go-to, tofu and vegetables. I could eat that every day. Sometimes I do. I just love it. I just love it. With a nice little ginger kind of brown sauce, kind of just light sauce that just has a little ginger kind of stuff mixed in with it. And I think that's delicious. And I really, really, really like it. And Jules says, how hot will it be? Well, there's that. It is going to be hot in Florida. So we were just talking about that today Kathy says we have to remember we have these, I call them the old lady fans. They're the tourist fans. So we have these fans that go around our neck and they just kind of sit right here and then they blow air up at you. So we will be taking those this time. And Vigana says, I don't have an Apple Watch. I have a Fitbit Versa 4. Oura Ring puts sleep stats along with activity in the context of overall readiness and resilience. Does Apple Watch do that? I don't really use the Apple Watch to track sleep. And that's probably something that I should be doing more because I usually charge my watch at night. But what I use is my sleep app from my CPAP machine, and it'll give me lots of good stats on my sleep. So that's kind of what I've been using for my sleep stats. It'll tell me how many times I've gotten up in the middle of the night and went to the bathroom or something. It will, it tells me how many times I went to the bathroom. It tells me how many times I took my mask off. Because sometimes in your sleep, you accidentally just go, I don't want this. And then you take your mask off and then you hear rushing air and you wake up and go, oh, wait, what? And then you put it back on. It'll tell me how many times I've done that. It'll tell me how many hours I've slept. And that combined with my earplugs. So my earplugs that I use, they also will tell me how long it's taken me to fall asleep. and how long it took me to get to a deep sleep, because it has a sensor and it senses when I'm asleep, and then it stops the music-y stuff and the crickets and turns to a white noise, but I use pink noise, but it turns to pink noise for the rest of the time. And it only does that once I'm asleep and into a deeper sleep, so it doesn't wake me up when it makes the transition. And so that's what I use for my information, but I have to look on, see if there's more in-depth stuff that I can get from the watch. Because it charges pretty fast, and I could charge it in the evening before I go to bed. And then actually, like, I can probably go 2 days without, a day and a half without charging this most of the time. Elizabeth says, got the email yesterday from Gideon's and they have rainbow cake. I bet it's cute.
We always get some of their Pride merchandise.
Yeah, and they'll have t-shirts probably. We always try to get the t-shirt every year to support them. So we'll check that out. And Jules says, on your neck, how much are those fans? Well, we pay for those, like $18 on.
It wasn't very expensive.
They were not very expensive. They were on I'm at Amazon, didn't I?
Probably.
Yeah, and then they adjust, like you can adjust the things, and they're just they're just little rechargeable little things, and you can adjust the way that it's blowing on you and stuff like that. So yeah, I think they were like $18 or something. Mine's orange and hers is white, I think. My dad actually told us about them initially. Because, you know, my mom was having all those problems where she was passing out because she would get too hot. And so, hoping that it would help her on the golf course, my dad bought her one that she could wear when they were out on the golf course. And it helped some, but it didn't cure the problem. And now we know that she actually needed some medication to help her with that, which she is on. And she says that she is also not sleeping hot now too. So she's getting much better rest because she is not waking up in a puddle of sweat at night. So that is great. Always Learning says, oh man, I need an old lady fan. Yeah, they're kind of awesome. I don't know where we put the picture, but I think we put the picture somewhere on the internet. It might be on our YouTube channel, or it might have went out in a newsletter, but there was a picture of Kathy in her tourist gear from like last July. And she has on her like buckety hat thing. And then she's got those things around her neck, and she's got her little lightweight Mickey Mouse button-up shirt on, and she just looks like, you know, classic tourist at Disney, and it's kind of funny. And Vegana was saying also the ring is way lighter than having to go to bed wearing a bulky watch. Yes, because this is a big watch, and if you wear it to bed, sometimes you knock yourself in the head with it. So yeah, the ring would be a lot better. Yeah, I'm always learning. I'm not sure about that readiness and resilience stuff either. That's interesting. My earplugs are, they're Philips Cocoons, Kokoon. They're actually from a European company has made the app that goes with them. But they are wireless. They connect to my phone and then to their app. And then on their app, I can pick all these different things. And I can have two things. So like I have the crickets and the frogs and stuff in the background. And then I also will play like what Kathy and I refer to as spa music that kind of plays on top of that. And those two things put me to sleep. And then once I'm asleep and that sensor senses that I'm asleep, it will kick over to the pink noise. And it's all part of those headphones. And I actually went to try to buy a backup because I was like, oh, if anything happens to these things, I'm going to have a problem. So I was going to try to buy a backup, last month and they didn't have any anywhere. So I hope they haven't stopped making them because I think they're magical. And they just like, they set, it's like a kind of an oblong little piece. And then coming off of each one is like these things that little wire looking stuff, but it's this rubber looking stuff. And then on the end of those are the earbuds. And then you just put it on the back of your head in the back of your neck so that when you lay, it doesn't interfere with anything. And then you put those things over your ears and then you put them in like that and then hit the app and they're glorious. I love them. I have tried a bunch of other ones. Kathy was trying a bunch of earbuds too. And I think we're probably going to do a review of several of the different earbuds that we got and see if anybody's interested in what we found out about those. Because there's a lot of sleep buds on the market now. And the ones that Kathy is now using pretty exclusively are called Oboes or something like that. They were actually designed by some engineers that worked for Bose that designed the sleep buds for Bose, and then they tweaked them and made them a little different and came out with their own. So she's been using those. And then I have some other ones that I got and I like them. Their app is not, I think if they grow their app and they have more options, I think they'll be great. But until they have more options on that app, I need my crickets and my frogs and they don't have that option on there. So I tried to use them with the app from mine and they did okay for like maybe 15 or 20 minutes. And then the first time my phone did something weird, then it cut them off. And so I would have to keep turning them back on. And I was like, yeah, I'm not even going to bother with that. So I should check and see if their app has gotten any better because they were really slick. They just kind of set inside your ear and then these kind of locked in there. And even on my side and stuff like that, they didn't bother me at all because I'm a side sleeper. And a lot of times it's hard to get stuff for a side sleeper. But they worked really, really well. I just did not like the choices of things that I had to go to sleep with. And Always Learning says, after wearing a watch for 24 hours a day for years and years, it doesn't bother me at all. I don't feel any relief when I take it off to charge or to take a shower. I mean, it's kind of like, this one is heavier than like the other one that I had that Kathy has now. This one's heavier because this is the Ultra. I think if I started sleeping in it, I would need to have a band that's not this loose because this actually, every time I lose weight in my arms, it feels like. And so my watch bands keep getting loose. And I probably need to go ahead and get a new watch band that's like a whole size smaller now at this point, but not a bad problem to have, and I'm happy about it. And Vegana says, yep, Aura tracks time to fall asleep, and if you fall asleep right away, it's not good, means you were too tired. Oh, interesting. Interesting that it balances that kind of information out too. Elizabeth says, before I lost all this weight, I used to snore all the time, probably had sleep apnea, but never was tested. I downloaded the Snore Lab app, and it records your snoring when it gets loud. It's very enlightening. Nice. That sounds like a cool app. Let's see, Always Learning says the sleep data is in the health app and it comes from your watch, though. Okay. And Always Learning, Vegana says, for me, when it comes to bedtime, the watch has to come off. Fitbit tracks some sleep stuff, but I'd rather go to bed with the ring than a watch. You're starting to sell me on this ring. Where did you get yours? Did you get yours directly from them, or did you were you able to catch a deal or something online somewhere? I need to research it more, but since you have one, is there a certain model that you recommend, or do they have different models, or how does that work? Vigana says, I'm freezing at 76 in the house. I'm also in the Bring the Jacket to Kroger club. That's awesome. I want to be in that club. Someday I will be in that club. And Red Lentil, Yellow Lentil says, a lot of us wear fans that wrap around our necks at the warehouse. Yeah, I love these things. I mean, they just kind of like, you can adjust it. Do you want it to blow up on your ears? Do you want it to blow up under your neck? I mean, you can kind of like even mine, the way the things adjust, you could even like pull them out here further and have it just blow right in your face. So, yeah. Oh, and Always Learning says they have neck fans with misters. I have not seen those. That sounds fun. And Apple says, just throwing this out there, not making any judgments. Do you think that perhaps having wireless tech on your body is affecting your sleep quality? Possibly, but the fact that I go to sleep so quickly when I'm not having the mind racing stuff, and this is not something that I have constantly all the time. This is something that I'm having maybe like a week a month. And so I don't know, it would be interesting to look things up and see if other people have had problems with something like that. Like, am I getting too much stuff hitting my brain or something? Like, yeah. I think it's something to definitely look into. At this point, I would have to say I think it helps me. It doesn't hinder me, but I should look into that more and see, like, maybe tonight I should try to sleep without any sounds like that and see how that works. Because I've been using those pretty much steadily for the past year, like every day for the past year. So, yeah, I should try to sleep without them for a little bit and see what happens then. That's a good idea. And Always Learning says, that's an interesting thought. She thinks no, but willing to try a few nights without and see. That would be an easy and welcome solution. Yes, I'm with you on that one. Always Learning, that is definitely. And Always Learning says my Apple Watch is probably the heaviest because I got the stainless steel one. I love that stainless steel one. I thought it was so nice, and I did think it was incredibly heavy. And of course now I have the heavy one, but at that time when I was looking at watches, I wanted the lightest one I could get, and that's the one that Kathy has now. So, and then she got me this one for my birthday last year. I think it was last year. And Always Learning says, I will check out the Ring again. I remember they were pricey. Yeah, I'm going to look into those too and see what I find out. And Vigana says, I got my Aura directly from them through my FSA card. I believe they recently came out with version 4. Mine's a 3. Oh, nice. I love when they come out with new versions of stuff because then, usually the tweaks that they do on the newer version are slightly less. And you can always start out with, and there's Freya walking in the background. But sometimes you can save a little cash by getting the older model, and that's something that I tend to like to do sometimes, especially if it's something that I don't know if I'm going to use like all the time. So I think that is that might be something good for me to do, is see if I could get that. Is this something that you could get a used one of? Is it the type of item that they would like refurbish, or like people trade them in for newer models or something like that, and then they like have like seconds or something like that? If you know, if you don't, that's fine. I'm going to research this stuff, but I mean, I'm just in my mind, I'm going like, how can I save money on this? So, and Always Learning says, at Vegana, too funny. I've been searching for places with an average summer temp no higher than 74, my melting temperature. I found Bellingham, Washington so far. I loved the state of Washington when we were there. One of the things that Kathy and I said when we were in Vancouver Island, Victoria, British Columbia, we were both like, we could live in cold weather. It was cold, but it was also kind of glorious. Of course, when we were there, it wasn't like insanely cold, but we thought it was kind of nice. She thinks that Always Learning thinks that my watch might be lighter than the stainless steel one. I got stainless steel because of the unscratchable glass, but that's your watch now too. Yeah, I've got the Ultra. Stainless steel might be heavier. This is titanium, I think. And I think that the titanium stuff, it's titanium and ceramic. And I think that stuff might be a little bit lighter than stainless steel. But I'm not positive on that. It feels much heavier than the other one that I had, the smaller one, for sure. Let's see. And Always Learning says, when I moved to Tahoe 23 years ago, the average summer temps were in the low 70s, but no longer. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of all getting that, right? One of the things Kathy has just blown her mind the past few years is that our area, we've actually moved 2 growing zones. And that's a big deal. Like 2 growing zones, that's a lot. That is a lot. And we have moved up 2 growing zones from where we were 15 years ago. So maybe 20 years ago, but it's still, that's a huge, significant change to move up 2 growing zones. Jules says, the Cocoon seems to be a library of soundscapes and sleep meditations. The Philips sleep headphones look comfy. They are extremely comfy. Even as a side sleeper, I have no problem with them. They don't hurt. They don't push in or anything. And I really love them. They have been my favorites. I have been using them now for well over a year, maybe even longer than that. I'm not sure. But yeah, I cannot sing their praises enough. They have the better library of soundscapes and sleep meditations than any of the others that I have tested. Now, Kathy's has some stuff too, but hers are more complicated. There's a good and a bad about hers. With hers, she has to download the stuff that she wants to listen to, basically, to hers, because it downloads to them. So the upside to that is when we don't have internet, she still can use her stuff. I cannot, because mine requires the internet for them to actually do the thing. So if I don't have any internet on my phone, I don't get my sleep headphones. So that is a downside of them. However, very rarely in a situation where I don't have any internet, unless the power's out or something like that. And if the power's out, I'm probably not sleeping anyhow. Bigana says, not sure about refurbished ones. Maybe eBay or Aura themselves have refurbished ones. Sizing is also important. It won't be the same as a regular ring size. Website goes over that. Okay, cool. And Apple says, please don't put too much stock in my suggestion. I am a complete troglodyte. No, you're not. And don't even have a mobile phone. I keep my computer hardwired rather than using Wi-Fi. I'm very sensitive to EMFs. You are not a troglodyte. And some people are just more sensitive to that stuff than others. I know several people who they can't have all that stuff. They feel the vibration of all that stuff. And so I totally get that. Luckily for me, I haven't really had that problem with Wi-Fi and computer type stuff making me go, But those cicadas. Those cicadas did that to me. When we had all those cicadas last year, oh my God, it was just like, like it was like somebody had a jackhammer and was just, it was crazy. And Always Learning says, I bought an Ultra, then returned it. I love the looks of my stainless, but I want the bigger and need to upgrade soon. I think they're supposed to come out, maybe there's a rumor, so don't put any stock in it yet. But there's a rumor they're supposed to come out with a lighter, bigger version like this. Yeah, 2 growing zones. And Jules says, wow, Apple, I just learned of a town in West Virginia where there is a radio telescope and there is no cell phone or even microwave show in the town, allowed in the town. That's crazy. Apple says, I remember those cicadas in the chipmunk house squatter. Fun times. Woo! We haven't had any problems with chipmunks coming in the house since we got the new AC heat unit. So the guy said, I don't know if I told you guys this. I might have already told you this. If I am repeating myself, I'm sorry. But when they did that, it wasn't code to have to cover the bottom section of, like, this thing is on the wall, comes down like this, and then underneath there was just like insulation and stuff that kind of went underneath and into the house from the unit. And the guy was saying, do you have any problems with the chipmunks getting in the house? And I was like, well, yes, we do have trouble. And he goes, yeah, I see it all the time. Whenever it's like this, he goes, I'm going to seal all that up for you and bring it up to code. And he said, you won't get any in there anymore unless they're already in there. Then they won't be able to get back out. And I was like, oh, we already got them out. So, yeah, so he said that that's where they were coming in. They were coming in through the air conditioning system. They were in the vents. And, you know, those little buggers will squeeze through anything. So at some point, they were coming in through a vent and then just, like, dropping down and running around. So, and I still can't get over the fact that none of the animals even, like, tried to get the chipmunk. They were just like, oh, I guess he lives here now, too. I don't know what's wrong with my animals. I think if we had had Freya then, I think she'd have took care of that situation. And Apple says, Jules, that's heaven for me. When I was still mobile, I used to take retreats a few times a year in very remote and blackout sky areas. Wow, that's nice. Like, I always say I want to go somewhere and completely unplug for a couple days. And then it makes me so incredibly nervous that I can't relax. And so I have to have my phone. Like, I'm like, where's my phone? Where's my phone? Where's my phone? I'm addicted to this thing right here. I have been ever since my last job. So, Always Learning says, I have chipmunks who party in my garage. I have to open the door from the house carefully and let them escape before I go out with the dogs. Man, these chipmunks, they're something else. See, I'm thinking of getting rat traps, but I'm afraid I might get chipmunks. My neighbors have too many chickens. You know, where are you thinking of putting those traps at, Jules? Because the chipmunks are kind of, I don't know if they would be too big. Well, I guess if they're rat traps, they wouldn't be too big. I would get the humane traps. So we have, you can get them off of Amazon. That's what we have. That's how we caught the chipmunk. Looks like chicken wire, and it's a little box with chicken wire, and it has a thing inside, and you bring the door up, and then you set the thing, and then you put a treat on there like peanut butter or something. They love peanut butter. Put the peanut butter on there, and then when they go in and they they have to step on that pressure switch to get to the peanut butter. And when they do that, the door shuts. So then they're just in there. And then as soon as you hear the door go bam, you just go put on your gloves and take it outside and lift it up, and then they run. So I would try maybe those. And that way, if you do get a chipmunk instead of a rat, and if you do get the rats, then maybe have somebody help you release them somewhere further away from the house or something like that. That's what. Oh, in the shed? Yeah. I would try the humane ones and then see if you can't, just get somebody to help you get everybody released somewhere once they're in their little cages. Oh, thanks. That's not a bad deal right there. The Aura 3 is $199 right now, and the new one is $349. That's not bad, $199. I mean, that's about the price of what we paid for the other Apple Watch, I think, when we got it. Or it might have been $249. I don't know, but it was the little Apple Watch was the first one that we got. And Elizabeth says, can you get the Aura at Costco? I don't know. I intentionally avoid the electronics section at Costco. Because every time I go over there, I find something that we just have to have. So I just try not to go over there because they always have they always have these really cool charger things or battery backups or I mean just all this stuff that I can justify that we need for whatever we're doing. And so I just try not to go to the electronics anymore unless I have to get something over there because they always have an Anchor, right? Anchor products. Anchor is a tech company that makes battery packs that you can charge your phone and stuff for. We have them that have the MagSafe on the back. So when we are running out of juice on the phones, it just magnets right to the back of the phone and charges the phone. And they're fast. And they usually have those or a version of them at Costco. We got these plugs from Anchor that they had at Costco that were big enough. They were powerful enough to charge our laptop, to run our laptops, but they're only this big instead of having to have the whole brick. We just had to have that little thing. Anchor makes so much stuff like that. And then they always have it at Costco. So I'm always over there going, oh, I need that. So I've been trying to avoid it, but maybe I need to swing through there. We need to make a Costco run this week anyhow. And Always Learning says, chipmunks are rodents too. If your traps are inside or in the garage, then fair game. Though more sad than mice or rats. I'm using electric shock traps. Victor, they work really well. I've never heard of those. Those are interesting. My traps are currently just for mice, but I bought one for bigger. I'm not sure I have the heart to use it due to the chipmunk factor. And the chipmunks, they're so cute, right? We don't want anything to happen. Oh, and Jules says, yes, I see Aura at Costco. Nice. And Jules also has the Anchor from Costco. And Vigana says Costco app shows the Aura 4 for $349. Yeah, that's the new one. And Always Learning says, this is what my wildlife org told me. Here it is from AI. While mice may be trapped and released humanely, their survival in a new location is often unlikely. Releasing a mouse into a strange area. I didn't know that's interesting. And that's what I worry about with the chipmunks because, they have a kind of a family unit. So, I would never, take one of those chipmunks that we caught and put it, somewhere else. because I know that there's a chipmunk family here and I don't want to separate some family. So whenever they would get in the house, we would just take them out the front door, open the thing, and let them run back to where they go to. And then they'd bounce, bing, 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 all the way down. Except for that one who would always just run around and come right back up the steps to try to come in the house again. I'm just like, I don't know. He wanted to live here so bad. But yeah, I don't know. I try not to harm any living thing. Even like I used to be firmly in the only good snake is a dead snake category, but I've even changed my stance on that to the fact that I would call somebody to come and remove a poisonous snake before I would hurt it. In the past, that was not always the case. So, yeah, I always try to just do the best I can with the humane thing with that. Spiders, like Kathy's always got me carrying little teeny spiders outside or things like that. So, but I've always been so terrified of snakes that I would freeze. Like if I saw a snake, it didn't matter if it was a good one or a bad one. I would just like, terrified of them. And so it's been hard for me to get to the point that I'm at. But now that I understand that there are some that are very beneficial, especially here, I know that it's very beneficial for us to have a black snake on our property because the black snake will run off the other snakes. And we have a black snake. I haven't seen him this year yet, but last year he was hanging out on the deck. So I'm really hoping that he is still living here because he runs off the bad snakes. And we have a lot of copperheads in this area. So I do not like copperheads because they're sneaky and you can't always see them because they blend in with everything. And then, let's see. So the continuation of that AI thing was it significantly reduces its chances of survival due to factors like unfamiliar territory, competition for resources, and potential exposure to predators, parasites, and diseases. Yeah. And Jules says, I really dislike rats and don't want any in the house. Yeah. That is another thing with the snakes. They keep that kind of population down too, a lot. When I lived in Nightdale, I had a black snake on my property there too. And he used to scare me to death, but we had an agreement. As long as I don't have to see you, you can be here all you want to. Well, he lived under the house in the crawl space. And I let him stay because the year before that, I had the neighbor come remove a black snake from the property. And the next winter, I was constantly dealing with mice. So I was like, nope, snake's going to stay. And I didn't have a problem with mice in the house after that. Let him live under there. So, and he never tried to get in the house. So we were cool. Yeah. And say that's like mice live in colonies or family groups. Each colony established its territory by urine and feces marking. Yeah, I feel guilty too about all that stuff, Jules. I just, yeah, I'm like that with all living creatures though, right? Like I was the kid that would go to a movie when I was younger, and you could take me to a movie and all the bad guys and people getting blown up, and I wouldn't flinch. But if I even thought that an animal was getting hurt in a movie, I would have to get up and go away. I would have to leave because if not, I would get so emotional. I would cry and things like that, just at the thought that one might get hurt. So they had a real problem taking me to movies when I was a kid because of that. Old Yeller and stuff like that. And I even cried when Pinocchio became a boy because I felt bad that he became a boy because he was so much better as a puppet. I mean, I had all these justifications for all this stuff. And yeah, I was that kid. I was the kid that just got emotional over everything. Melina says, we have problems with squirrels. They are cute, but eat things like boat cushions. Not to mention they steal my pecans before they ripen. Squirrels, man, are crazy. We've always had crazy squirrels around us. We had one squirrel that would take Max's toys and then taunt him with them up in the tree. And then we had another squirrel. You want to come in here, baby? Frey has gotten so big, y'all. She still won't let us pick her up very far, so I can't just pick her up and show you her yet. But if she walks behind me, I'll let you guys know. But she's a big girl. She weighs 13 pounds now, but she's not fat. She is long and tall, and she's beautiful. Her markings and stuff are just gorgeous. Sorry, got me on my cats again. Yes, boat cushions, lights. I can't tell you how many string lights on the deck we've had to replace because they chew the wires of the lights. If you don't get the big, fat, thick lights, and you just get like the little Christmassy kind of lights, they chew right through that stuff. They don't even last a month or two out there before they're out there chewing on them. So yeah, squirrels, they make me crazy. Jules says the only thing I will kill is a mosquito. I'm with you on that. I am with you. And feelings are important. And like, those are what make us us. So I'm an emotional little goofball. Who knew, right? I am like lots of people, like, it's funny. If people don't know me really well, they seem to feel like I am like some rough and tough, like, I'm gonna like take somebody out if they look at me funny kind of person or something, or I'm all tough and do all this stuff. I am a softie. I am the biggest softie in the world. And I used to not be okay with that. But I'm okay with it now because I feel like being a softie just makes me a better person. And it makes me be able to understand other people. It makes me compassionate for people, for animals. It makes me a better person. And I'm okay with it. So for all those people who used to call me wuss, and why wouldn't I do this, and how come I'm not fighting with them, and I'm glad to be a wuss. That's the truth. Because I live a nice, happy life with animals all around me. Vigana says, I need to get to the compassionate place with those giant flying tree roaches. Not there yet. Yo, the palmetto bugs, the palmetto bugs here. Like, and they'll fly, and they fly. And it's, woo, I know, like, I feel like when you see one, like, it comes at you like this freight train, and then you're telling yourself, it's just a palmetto bug, it's just a palmetto bug. But man, that thing looks like a roach on steroids, and you are just like, you just want to run from it, because if a nuclear bomb was to go off, they would survive. Like, they're what's going to survive, those palmetto bugs. I swear, those things, they are so hard to get rid of. And when I was younger and I worked in a hotel, and it was at the beach in South Carolina, and people would come down from the north and stuff, and they didn't have big flying roaches up there. And so they would just like freak out. They would be calling, screaming there were bugs in their room. And then like we'd go up there, and it would always be a palmetto bug. And I would be like, I'm like, ma'am, that's not a roach. That's a palmetto bug, and it flew in your open balcony door. You need to, if you don't want them to come in, you're going to have to close your balcony door, because they are going to fly in through your balcony door. And they would just like freak out. They were like, what? That thing flies? And I'm like, yeah, it flies. And then they even more freaked out. But yeah. And squirrels chewed the spark plug wires in my car. I worry about that all the time. I'm always seeing on like Reddit and stuff where people talk about how mice and stuff have gotten into their car in the wintertime, and they chew on the wires and they mess up the wiring in their cars, and their cars don't work. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what? I just can't imagine that. And apparently there's some coating that they put on wires that they like the taste of. And I'm like, why? Why are you doing that? If you know that the animals have the taste for it, don't put it in a $50,000 purchase. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to have to like pay another $10,000 or $20,000 to have all the wiring in their car replaced. That's just ridiculous. Don't use that stuff. I'm always like, gosh, I'm just like get a little freaked out about it. So I just can't imagine. They can chew all the wires they want on my, I'll just keep replacing my patio lights. That's fine. I just don't want them in my car. Jules says I run from palmetto bugs. Man, I'm telling you, palmetto bugs are, and they fly. And they look like giant roaches that fly. If you've never seen one, they are, no lie, they're at least this long, probably that wide, right? And they have wings and they fly. They're crazy. Crazy. Jules says, something chewed the central electric system in my Honda once. There wasn't even the part in the USA. They had to send one to replace it. I don't know why they do it. And it's typical in Toyotas and Hondas are the ones that I see the most that this happens to. So, it's some coating that they put on the wires that they're attracted to. So, I don't know. You know, they probably go in there to get warm or something, and then they're like, oh, hey, snack. Nah, I'm always paranoid about that. We don't have a garage or anything, so our cars are just kind of out there all the time, and maybe that's better because I know a lot of times people get mice and stuff in their garage, and maybe that's when that kind of stuff happens. But yeah, I always worry about the cars, something like that happening to it. But I'm a worrywart, so I worry about those things. So everybody else, yes, soy-based. That's exactly what it is. It's a soy-based coating that they put on the wrapping around the wires themselves, like the plasticky stuff is soy-based, and then they're chowing down on tofu the whole time. So that's a thing. So everybody, I have talked your ear off now, and it's getting late. I probably should try to go to sleep because I am feeling tired, and that's a good thing. And so if anybody else wants to just throw out what's your goal for this week, if there's something that you want to do this week that's new, different, something that you just want to make sure you get done, and you want to just like throw it out here in the chat to be accountable. I am not going to have these glasses in the bedroom so that I don't pick up this guy and read all night long. That is my main one. And then my second one is I'm going to try to get Kathy to go for a walk with me every morning this week. So those are my goals. And what are yours? I know you guys got some. Just throw something out there you want to do this week. And even if it's not like a goal, it's just like something you need to do. I need to clean a closet. I need to clean a room. I need to clean out a drawer. I mean, just throw something out there, and then you've got a little accountability because you publicly put it out there, right? And so you can work on that. I know that I have lots of stuff to do this week, but I'm thinking the morning walk is going to be pretty nice to get me moving and ready to get some major editing done this week. I have lots and lots of content to go through, and I have stuff I need to do for Kathy's stuff. And some of it that I need to do for Kathy's stuff is going to it requires a lot of work and a lot of research. So that's going to be taking up a lot of my time this week too. All right. All right, Apple says morning walk sounds good to her too. Jules going to get back on track. Red lentil, yellow lentil. His goal is to make an appointment to get tested for ADHD this month. Nice. I need to do that at some point too, though I don't think I even need to be tested because squirrel. I have all the things. And I probably should get an official diagnosis at some point though. Yep, I agree with you, Apple. That is all the best in getting that diagnosis done. And Busy Bee says, my goal is to go to bed at a reasonable time, not sit up watching silly videos on YouTube. Oops, sorry. Is it a reasonable time, though? Where are you at? Because, like, you might be on the West Coast, and it's still a reasonable time over there, whereas it's 11:45 here. Hey, JJ, good to see you. We are just getting ready to wrap up, but we're glad that you stopped by to say hi. Everybody's putting in a goal or something they wanted to accomplish this week. You need to clean a closet or whatever. But if there's something that you just like have on your mind that you want to do today, throw it in the chat. Let everybody know so you kind of have a little accountability for it this week. And if anybody else has anything that they want to put in, I'll give it just a few seconds, and then I'm going to start wrapping things up so that we can all get to bed at a decent time. 12:46 p.m. Oh, you must be overseas somewhere then. Nice. So that is a very reasonable time. I'm glad you made it in too, JJ. It's good seeing you. I saw you on Friday. You popped in with Angela's stuff too. And we are so glad to have Angela here. Like, she's just like, and she got on me because after we got offline, I'm just going to tell y'all, Angela was like, look, y'all have never got rid of this stuff because you're not sleeping and you're not taking care of yourself. So if you want to get rid of this mess for good, you've got to take care of yourself and you need to get sleep. And so I was like, yes, ma'am. So that's another reason why I'm really trying to work on my sleep, because I don't want to let Angela down, because she is very, very knowledgeable, and she's probably right. We probably never have gotten rid of any of this junk. We've probably just been, sometimes we're better, sometimes we're worse, and we just need to get rid of it, you know. So we will do it. We will do it. We're going to take time. Yeah, Els, just in time to leave. We are wrapping up. If you want to put something in the chat, Els, like something you want to accomplish this week, or a goal, or something that you just want to do, just to have some accountability, feel free to do that as we're wrapping up. Tomorrow night, everyone, it is the first Tuesday of the month, and on the first Tuesday of the month, we have Sangeeta here, who will lead everyone in a positivity circle. So it is very nice when she does that. We really, really enjoy Sangeeta coming by and like just kind of her perspective on the world and helping lead us through some nice positive affirmation type things. So yeah, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, Sangeeta will be with us, and she will be doing that. I'm not sure if I will be doing that tomorrow with her, or if Kathy will be doing that, or if we'll both be doing that. It's going to depend on how much Kathy is in the weeds tomorrow with her book number 3 for the Creami. So that is in full swing, being worked on, and so look for that to come soon. Probably going to be a pre-order come out for that, very probably, I would say, in the next few weeks. So keep your eye out for that. But yes, join us tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, for Sangeeta. It's lovely. I hope that she will sing for us, and she has a lovely voice. So everyone, have a great, great week, and let's all make sure that we do things to take care of ourselves, and I'm talking to me too. So everyone, have a great time this week. Do something fun for yourself. Do something for your inner child, and everybody, just be the best person you can be. That's all you have to do. We'll see you guys later.